Hello again, everyone. I am Mike Lowe, and we are here with NBA 2K23, continuing our very popular, I'm happy to report, New York Knicks MyNBA. And we are doing it a little bit different this time. I'm actually just kind of narrating over some footage I grabbed the last time I jumped in and played this. So we're just going to kind of talk and bounce around, and I encourage you to do the same here in the comments. If you got questions, if you got comments, suggestions, that kind of thing. Again, your role in this is the assistant general manager. And we are in the year 2024/25. We're gonna actually get through the entire season in this particular stream. And I think the last time we left off, we were talking about just kind of what we wanted to do around the trade deadline and that kind of thing. So anyway, we're gonna get into all that. I wanna say first, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I've seen my subscriptions bump up a lot recently, and it's because of videos like this, and it's because of viewers like you. So again, thank you for doing that. Thank you for jumping in here and participating, and I'm really looking forward to continuing doing so. So again, do all that fun stuff, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's just start really looking around, which is what we're doing here in this first clip, which of course is just what I'm trying to do here is just determine, what do we want to do, if anything, at the trade deadline. Jamal Murray, who you see there, again, he's kind of a big focal point. We've talked about maybe him not being a big fit for the future. He does not want to resign, it looks like, and he is an unrestricted free agent, and I believe our highest paid player. Yeah, he is our highest paid player. Bones Hyland, who you see there, not available to actually resign. So I don't know. Point guard although it's a really deep position right now, there's still some unknowns about the future of the position with this team. And so what I'm doing here is really just scrolling through and just trying to get a pretty good gauge of where players are, not just contractually, but under also just kind of like team control, team role, and that sort of thing. And keep in mind, we're a really good Knicks team again. You're gonna be seeing the record here later on in this video, but we are in a really, really good place. And it might just be one of those years again where we just don't need to do a ton. We've made some big trades. It doesn't always have to be done during the trade deadline. A lot of you have commented about, that team chemistry being so vital. And it was something we missed last year, being the #1 team in the NBA, but knocked out in the first round. Our team chemistry was in like the low 60s. Right now, it's right around 100, if not at 100. And so that's a huge, huge difference. It's a huge, huge difference, I should say, and it's a huge deal. So this team's pretty deep. Again, there's a lot of, Obi Toppin's not even playing at this point. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's just kind of the reality of where this team has been moving forward. And so they're all things that we're just having to keep an eye on here as we look to progress and really make this team better. So sorting here by positions, you can just kind of see with that depth I'm talking about. Murray, Hyland, even Randall's a nice bench option there. Trey Mann, who we signed this year in the offseason, he's been a nice combo there with Wallace. But truthfully, shooting guard is probably our most underachieving position as far as like game scores and efficiency ratings and things like that. But we have two pretty young players there. Wallace being a former first-round pick for us. Small forward, again, pretty deep with Barrett and Amen Thompson. People have been inquiring around Thompson. I have gotten plenty of offers for him, but again, just not something that really seems to fit. And what you're seeing here, just kind of going through the trade finder, which we will do at some point here. I really started doing a lot of shopping, including kind of the opposite of trade finder, which is searching for my own trades, which is what we're doing here. And you'll actually see the criteria that I'm inputting here. But to me, it's like I'm not making to make a small move. We have pretty good depth. If we did something here, I want it to be for a pretty special player. And we will kind of speed this up here in just a second, but really you can start to see what's going on as I start to make these offers. All right, so I went ahead and saved us the trouble here, and I've sped up just a lot of trade rejections, right? So you're seeing this video really just being fast forwarded through, but I literally was just trying to see if any team was interested in trading a high overall player. We do eventually get some offers, but a lot of them include RJ Barrett, and I'm just not doing that. I mean, under really any circumstances. And so a lot of these you're gonna see will include Barrett and just things that just don't make sense, not only for this season with a #1 seed New York Knicks team, but also for the future too. I mean, we just signed RJ Barrett. He's 24 years old at this point in this franchise, and I just didn't see deals like that making sense, right? So Halberton, for instance, exciting player to add, but again, not straight up for RJ Barrett. It just doesn't seem to move the needle. And so a lot of these deals here that you're seeing in kind of fast motion and whatnot, I mean, they're just deals that just didn't make sense. So it's not that I wasn't looking, it's not that I'm not trying, but there's just some deals here that, and again, like there's some like, well, okay, maybe some of these could work, and but at the expense of team chemistry, I'm still looking here, and I'm just not coming across anything that really seems to fit, right? And so, you know, this is one of the scenarios we talked about in the offseason was, what do we do? Do we just run it back with the same crew? Do we let chemistry develop, which it has? And again, Clint Capella, it's not a bad trade there, but is it completely moving the needle in a way that is going to make us a title contender, for instance? And it's really, really tough to say. So, but again, I'm not naive to kind of the situation with Julius Randle. He has a player option at the end of the year. It's a little bit lower than what you're seeing there. It actually comes down. And I get it. People see 30 and 31 and they start freaking out, but he's still a productive player. And he's actually, I think, our highest rated like system fit player on the team. And there's a reason why he's been really, really good with Thibodeau. So it's something that I'm just cognizant of and just trying to keep an eye on here. So again, we're still just sifting through trades. I mean, there was just a lot of me just, you know, essentially making virtual fake phone calls to essentially every team in the league and just seeing what's out there. And there were some interesting things, but we're not in a teardown situation at all. If anything, we're in a position to continue to build this team up. Again, even Jalen Brunson putting calls in, maybe bringing him back to the Knicks. But again, just nothing that really seemed to fit there overall. And again, certainly wasn't for lack of trying, but really keeping in mind that team chemistry. So of course, we are continuing our scouting for the upcoming draft, which will be the 2025 draft this time. And we can assume we'll be picking later in the first round again. So there's quite a bit of scouting. I really like the challenge of picking later in the first, because not only are there really more players you have to focus on, but there's a lot of just, you know, how do we find something that's useful? How do we find something that's valuable? And if anything, maybe 2K makes it a little too easy to scout too many players, especially if you hire a pretty good staff. But even when a player is 100% scouted, you're not seeing the exact player, at least from what I can tell. And you can prove this just by even jumping into a game. And let's just say you have a player that has like an A- 3-point percentage, score in his player card. When you load into a game, you can press up on the control pad to kind of bring up that little like graphic in the top right that shows you like the badges that are being activated and things like that, the plays that the coach is calling. But it'll also show you the player ratings, and you'll see that A- like game to game, it fluctuates. I mean, and it fluctuates a lot. Like it might be B- the next game. It could be A. And so there's a lot of rating flexibility and fluctuation, I guess I should say, in this particular game, which I think is great. So again, 100% doesn't always mean 100%. But as we're going through here, really just trying to scout out as much as we can, looking for players that might fall into that particular spot. Nothing too fancy here, and we'll do this a few times in the video. So we are just about at the trade deadline, and I think there's a couple things we can do here. First, let's take a look at the standings. We are 37-16, 69.8 win percentage. I believe there's just a couple teams over in the East that are better. Yeah, Oklahoma City, and I didn't see the team underneath them there. But you know, one thing I didn't get to do was actually shop Jamal Murray. And he was hurt, so we could not actually do any sort of shopping with him. And we have some decent offers coming in for Jamal Murray. Obi Toppin, who's not playing, could be sent out of that particular deal. I like Fred VanVleet. But here's the thing, guys. Do these trades make us a better playoff team this year? Does Marcus Smart, for instance, over Jamal Murray make us a better team? And no, I mean, is frankly the answer. Okoro, really nice player, 81 overall, 24. I'm gonna have a lot of people probably in the comments saying, oh my gosh, why didn't you do that trade? Let me tell you why. Let me be very, very, very clear. I know we get obsessed about rebuilds, we get obsessed about young talent, but what is the point of all of that? What is the point of young talent, rebuilding, acquiring draft picks? What is the actual point? And it's a question. The point is to build a team that can win a championship. Now, we have that here with the Knicks. So bringing in Miles Bridges for Jamal Murray or Okoro, whoever it was, these deals, sure, they might make sense for the future, but that's not what we're looking to do. I don't think our future is in that bad of a shape, by the way. And so to cut off our nose to spite our face doesn't make any sense in this particular situation. So does a Jamal Murray trade for maybe a younger player who's a little bit less we can develop make sense? No, in my opinion, it doesn't. Now, Amen Thompson, here's another player we're shopping. Speaking of young, really talented players, but he's coming off our bench. If there's a deal here that can really beef us up for the playoffs and make us a better team, well, maybe that's something to look at here. The other thing with Amen Thompson, though, for those who are really kind of future looking here, is RJ Barrett, very, very expensive. He's one of the best players in the league, in my opinion, in this particular franchise. But Amen Thompson also gives us some nice flexibility if we find ourselves in a financial pinch. However, I understand, as I just said, we're looking to build now to win a championship. So if Amen Thompson can bring us something, so be it. But I didn't really see anything there that I liked. If you had something else that you saw, let me know. Obi Toppin, we can kind of do the same thing here. Unfortunately, just Thibodeau is just not using him at all. Very, very low on the bench. I think he's like our 12th player on the bench right now, or I should say off the entire roster. So again, just not really deals here that would really kind of move the needle. I would rather keep Obi Toppin as an insurance policy than just move him just for like another name. And there were some deals in there that could probably make sense, but I don't know. I just didn't want to overcomplicate it. Claxton's a nice player, for instance, but we have so many centers already. So really looking like we're just going to stand pat. So trade deadline, like I said, guys, we're 37-16 right now. We're just going to move forward. We're going to go up to March 1st here. We're not going to make any trades. That's the decision that was made there. I've reflected on a lot of the comments you all shared. There's that Knicks Celtics trade they offered, but I think we're going to stand pat. 100% chemistry, 100% fan interest. Let's go. Here are the trades, by the way. Got a really good number of trades this year with the sliders. But otherwise, we're just going to let it rip here and just get through the season. We'll continue to do scouting. We will continue to just get through injuries. There's Bones Highland going to be out for a little bit, but again, to see if we can just kind of keep this going. And again, we will push through scouting. And we're doing this just at 4 times speed here because again, it just starts to get, it's not even that it's repetitive. There's just not a whole lot to see here until we actually get to draft day. Just have our scouts doing the best they can, filling out as much as we can, not just for the end of the first round, also the second round. And then really I start to kind of work my way towards the front because we have a lot of ammunition. As we saw, we have a pretty deep roster, and maybe this is a year we move up and go get a guard that we really can solidify this team with, or whatever it is that we might see here. So definitely worth scouting the beginning of the draft as well. So we continue on. We will just continue simulating. We're now 39-18 right now. Again, the team is in good shape. There's no contract extensions we really need to worry about, as we looked at the beginning of the video. And we are just pushing through here, kind of game by game. And let's take a look again just at where we are now. 41-18, 69.5 win percentage. I believe that's now best in the NBA. If we click over to the Western Conference here, we should see that. And I don't think I did that time. So, but nonetheless, pretty darn good. If we're not the #1 overall team, we definitely are in the East. And so again, just where does the roster look now, right? If you're curious to kind of see what that looks like, you know, or I should say the rotation itself here, right? How is Thibodeau using the team? And again, you can just see it's deep, right? Shooting guard, maybe an area to upgrade. Obi Toppin, not even close to getting in at this point. He's third off of like the players not even getting playing time. So had a really interesting story that he's turned out to be, which is unfortunate, but just isn't really in the plans long term, neither for me nor for Coach Thibodeau, it looks like. So, gosh, I hope this is the year for this Knicks team. They are looking pretty good again. Chemistry at 100%, fan interest at 100%. So again, really good spot to be. Giving our season a quick save here just in case something happens, but we're going to be going right up to the end of the season here and just ripping through games. And I'd like to show you kind of the calendar as it goes, because you're seeing a lot of wins there. And we'll just go through the scouting again really quickly here, 4 times the speed. Just as I said before, just really getting ourselves prepared. So curious your thoughts though on like, or what is that you do with your scouting? How do you treat it? I've done it different ways kind of each season, you know, but overall it's pretty straightforward in what I'm doing. I mean, just of course looking for the best players, trying to scout them as much as possible, but also curious if you have any kind of house rules that you use for scouting to maybe make it more challenging. Well, we have about 3 weeks left in the season here, sitting at 52 wins, and have yet to even hit 20 losses. So again, pretty good. Looks like we have the best record now in the NBA. So really good news. It's so shocking how good the Oklahoma City team has gotten. And if you've looked at this, the simulator in the background, we've lost them quite a few times. Injury, by the way, to Amen Thompson, just day to day. But they've had our number this year, and that's a bit of a problem. You can see we just lost him again by 21 points. And again, we're the best team in the NBA, so that Oklahoma City team is an issue. And here are the award winners, by the way. Just let you take a look at those. All-NBA first team. All-NBA second team here coming up. I don't actually think any New York Knicks made any team, which is interesting. Wembayama makes the second team as a rookie. All-NBA third team. Pistons backcourt there. That's cool to see. I've been loving watching the Pistons this year, even though they've only won a couple games so far, but they look good. All-defensive first team. All-defensive second team. All-rookie team. The first squad, followed by the second squad. There's that Mera player we were looking at there from Spain. Yeah, so there you go. And there it is, folks. There is the playoff seeding. We are going to be doing the playoffs next. And I will be resuming kind of my live narration this time as we go through this. And we'll see how it goes. But the Knicks are 60-22. The best record in the NBA. We hit the 60 win mark. We're right back where we were last year. The #1 seed in the East. Now, we got to make more noise this year than we did last year, and that's for sure. So it's playoff time, everyone. Let me know what you're thinking, but let's go take a look. All right, guys, so this is it. We are going to simulate the playoffs. I promise you this is the one time through that we're going to do it. We're not going to do any games this time, and the question I'm going to have at the end of this, regardless if we win or lose, is going to be, what do we do with this series? Do we want to continue it? Do you guys want me to jump in more with my Timberwolves franchise mode here that I've been doing, the MyNBA, I should say, where I'm actually playing every single game? We're 4-2, by the way. You guys let me know. Again, leave a comment. If you haven't liked the video, please do. But we're going to go through the playoffs here and really just talk about kind of where we're going. And again, other suggestions. I've had some really good suggestions on other videos that are kind of just outside of kind of the playthrough MyNBA experience. But I really like this so far, so I'm not opposed to keep it going. But if there's other stuff that we want to do too, I will admit it's kind of hard to kind of keep my head straight with 2 different MyNBAs. I'm getting things with my Timberwolves mixed up with the Knicks and so on. I'm really attached to this Knicks team, but again, I haven't really played much with these guys, and I feel kind of weird maybe just jumping in and playing 5 years in or something like that, but that's an option. So anyway, this is it, guys. I'm scared. You know, really quick, maybe we can just go through and just look at just kind of the stats here on where we are as a team. So most wins in the NBA, you can see Thunder are just a crazy team right now. Points for, #2 in the NBA. Points against, well, we're kind of in the middle, right? So if we go from the lowest, where are the Knicks at here? Ooh, where are we? I just totally missed us. Oh, there we are. So not 21st, I guess, but 9th in the league. So still a top 10, I guess 10th in points against. Boy, the Thunder are just really good team. Differential, second, only the Thunder ahead of us. That's going to be such an interesting matchup if we get to play them in the finals. Field goal attempts per game, I look at that more for like stats, I should say for my actual slider set. We had the second highest field goal percentage. As far as 3 points, we are number 9 in 3-point percentage. Free throw percentage, let's see, yeah, middle of the pack there, we're not showing up. Defensive rebounds, 5th in the league. Total rebounds, 7th in the league. Assists per game, 7th in the league. Steals per game, middle of the pack it looks like. Blocks per game, middle of the pack there. Turnovers per game, middle of the pack. So we have seen a little bit of regression in places, but again, nothing too alarming. Middle of the pack with fouls, points off turnovers, second chance points, 4th. So again, something to think about with those big centers we have. That's been a contributor to our winning, and we lead the NBA, speaking of centers, in points in the paint there. So pretty cool to see that. Middle of the road as far as points off the bench. So that just gives you an idea. Let's look at actual player stats, and I really like to go to the advanced stats here to see, and I like to sort by position, right? So game score, Jamal Murray, really nice year. Highland, above average year off the bench. That's good to see. Even Randall playing time was pretty decent. Again, a little bit weak at the shooting guard position, but Wallace, perhaps surprisingly, has the better year than Mann at 3 years younger. So again, still pretty good. If we look at what his advanced stats were last year, it's a pretty nice jump for him in year 2, which is pretty normal. He's not quite fitting our maybe like our team pace as much this year, but he was certainly unequivocally the better player this year, while being used a little bit less there. So that is good to see. By the way, Murray, if we look at his 2 years, pretty consistent. I mean, wow, really consistent. My goodness, numbers are almost identical there. So that's good to see. Ball, of course, still overseas for a couple more years, has not played yet. He was, by the way, our 30th pick in the draft in 2023 out of England. RJ Barrett, really just an excellent year so far, our highest scoring game score player, which is probably going to be the case. Even better than last year for him. His usage slightly up, but again, he's such an impressive player, and this is why I didn't want to even consider deals that involved him at just 24 years old. Amin Thompson, not too bad off the bench there. Again, good to see him in his second year. A bit of a regression technically, but again, small sample size with his playing time and whatnot. Usage went down a little bit. So again, nothing really too worrisome there. At power forward, we have a lot of power forwards on this team. So let's see. So Randall, 14.9 game score. That's going to be down, but he, has had that in the past even, right? So it's not like it's just a straight line down. He still has value. 14.9 is still really darn good. His usage was down, as you can see over on the far right, so that's good to see as well. Again, just kind of distributing. I like kind of talent distributed across the team, and that's what we're seeing here. So again, pretty cool. Obi Toppin, gosh, again, it's just unfortunate. He just has not found a role here with the team. Usage down by 50% from last year, even more so from the previous years. And yeah, it's his worst year as a pro. There's no question. This is his least used year as a pro as well. Our rookie, by the way, 29th pick in the draft. Nothing too crazy. Again, developed nicely though. He's 19 years old and just a 70, or I should say already a 77 overall. Allen Ryan didn't play at all. I'm kind of surprised by that. But again, his rating just a 73, so doesn't really seem to have a role there. And we look at centers. Sims, again, barely played. Just not really able to crack the lineup here. Gafford, a bit of a regression, but nothing too crazy. His last 3 years have been solid, even last 4 years really. So is kind of being the player that we expect him to be. Robinson does see a drop here, but again, it's not drastic. It's similar to how he was a couple years ago. I'm not terribly concerned with it, but again, something to keep an eye on. He's not getting any younger. with those bigger guys, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So, all right, well, it's playoff time. Let's jump in and do this. Let's see, do we want to just kind of go game by game? I guess so, right? Whew, man, nervous, guys. Game 1, hey, we won. Let's do just quick box score checking here. 126-98, we'll take it. I'll leave just our team up. If you're curious to see the Celtics team real quick, there they are. If you just want to kind of see what their roster is looking like so far. 40 points for Tatum, very nice. Game number 2 in New York. What's going on here? Ooh, Highland out 2 to 4 weeks. But again, we have some depth. We should be okay. We win game 2. I'm liking this so far. RJ Barrett 25, Wallace with 20. Very nice. And we get the win just by 5 points this time. So much, much closer game. We scored 42 points in the 4th to win that game. Wow. We'll take it. Game 3. Okay, we go to Boston and we lose. So game 3, Tatum puts up 40 again. Barrett, Gafford, Randall this time coming off the bench for the injured Highland. Really nice game, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 7 of 18 shooting, but we lose by 9 points there. Yeah, just we had a terrible second quarter. That really cost us. Even the first quarter wasn't too great. So, well, it just got interesting. Game 4, Jamal Murray, day to day. So, again, depth, right? Okay, Boston has tied the series. Let's look around at some other series, by the way. Cleveland 3-1, tied Atlanta, Toronto, Detroit looking to upset Orlando 3-1 over in the West. Oklahoma City 2-1 up on Utah. We have tied with New Orleans and Minnesota. Lakers and Sacramento also tied. Memphis up 3-0 on Denver. So we look at our game 4 box score. Tatum definitely been their best player so far, it seems. RJ Barrett 23, Randall again. Nice game there. Just looking to see, Murray did play, just didn't do much. 2 of 7, 2 of 8 for Wallace, 3 of 10 for Amen Thompson, 3 of 10 for Mann. We just shot really cold. We lose by 11 points. Just a rough 4th quarter for both teams, and the series is tied. So we now have a 3-game series with Boston here, our rival. Game 5, Jamal Murray is now back. Boston has won 3 games in a row. They now lead it 3-2. Guys, if we win this series, it's going to be going to a game 7 again. This is unreal. RJ Barrett doing his best, 26 points, 21 for Murray, Thompson 18, Gafford 16, Wallace 12, Randall almost double-double. Allman getting into the game. I think he was in the last game too. So we lose by just 2. It went into overtime and we lose. That game was at home. Game 6 is in Boston. Detroit has moved on. Memphis has moved on. We have to win in Boston to force a game 7. And we lost. Wow, we're out again in the first round. Guys, that's epic. That is like epic collapse. That's 2 years in a row we're the best team, and this time with 100% chemistry, or at least, can we even see our team chemistry? Well, I mean, I think it was pretty close to 100 going in, so wow. Oklahoma City about to be upset potentially. They are. So we're not the only team. The 2 best teams in the NBA knocked out. New Orleans and Utah move on. Memphis and the Lakers move on. Atlanta joins Detroit, Cleveland, and Boston. Cleveland sweeps. Detroit moving on. They're in the conference finals, beating Atlanta 4-2. That exciting backcourt we saw in the awards presentation there. The Lakers win in 6 over Memphis, so the top 2 teams now gone in both conferences. And New Orleans moves on. So we have a 3-4 and a 5-7. Wow, just really crazy playoffs. Lakers are in the finals. Western Conference Finals is LeBron James, Darius Garland, Cleveland going for, I think, back-to-back, right? I think they won it last year. And so they beat Detroit 4-2, Lakers 4-1. and the Lakers sweep the finals. They beat the defending champion Cleveland Cavaliers. So guys, that's it. That's the end of the 24-25 season. I cannot believe we got swept a second time. That's like just hard to wrap your head around. And like, we're asking the exact same questions at the end of this season as we were the last season of what do we do? And I know a lot of you said you tear it down, and yeah, I mean, there's an argument for it. I mean, some of it's going to be torn down itself because Jamal Murray's gone and things like that, but we definitely have some stuff to talk about over the offseason here. So we're going to do just that. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Oh my goodness. Let me know your thoughts too on just this series in general. We can continue it. I can upload it if you want to continue it. Just let me know. Like I said, I'm pretty open to it all. So really, really exciting stuff. But we're doing all kinds of different franchise stream stuff here. I think we're even going to be doing like Football Manager on PlayStation when it comes out November 8th. I think that's going to be a ton of fun. And yeah, really just focusing on franchise gameplay and things like that. And if you have videos, again, that you're curious to see more about, any sort of deep dive stuff that's more kind of in tune with the game itself, let me know. I'm happy to put those together as well. But I'm Mike Lowe, and I am on Twitter at MikeLowe47. Again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking the videos. Thanks for checking out other videos. And I'll see you next time when we figure out what the hell to do with this New York Knicks team. Thanks, guys.